welcome to the Quiet Your Inner Mean Girl podcast, a place for you to find the courage you need to take the first step and every step thereafter to create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you love. I'm your host, health and life coach, Abby Hegney. Let's dive in. Welcome back to episode 34 and part 2 of our conversation about quitting on yourself, on your goals, on the life that you want to be living. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I encourage you to pause this episode and go back to listen to episode 33. In that episode, I shared the foundation for understanding why we quit on ourselves and how our inner mean girl feeds the stories that keep us stuck. I shared the gold mine that is belief in ourselves, in what is possible, and what we are capable of in order to reach our goals. And I will add, to reach them simply. Without this belief, our foundation is shaky and eventually it crumbles. If you have started and stopped, or if you have quit on yourself more times than you can count, it's due to a lack of belief, either in your goals, in yourself, or in the progress that you are making. And this is the best news because it puts turning it all around in your control. If you do not have belief in your goals, in what's possible and what you are capable of, it's because there are stories of your inner mean girl and emotions that are standing in your way that eventually feel too heavy to carry with you. Those stories, those thoughts, and the emotions that you're feeling are driven by your inner mean girl and everything that she knows, everything you have always done. The only reason we quit on ourselves is because we believe the stories that our inner mean girl tells us. Those thoughts feel comfortable because we've told ourselves the same stories over and over and over again. Or it's because there is an emotion that's standing in your way that you don't want to feel. And instead of feeling it, you try to avoid it. You quit on yourself. Today, we are diving deeper. We're talking about some of those thoughts and those feelings as how they relate to how we quit on ourselves. My goal is to help you recognize these patterns in your own life, how they are showing up for you, what they may sound like, what they may feel like, so that you can begin the shift of quieting your inner mean girl and building your confident self-concept to stop quitting on yourself and start creating the habits and the confidence and the life that you want to be living. And next week, we're going to talk about 3 things that you need to do to stop quitting on yourself. So stay tuned for next week's episode. But for now, let's get into how we quit on ourselves. Sometimes it's very obvious when we quit on ourselves. It's the giving up, the throwing in the towel. It's thinking of your inner mean girl as the cheerleader on top of the pyramid with the megaphone. But most of the time, we quit on ourselves in really small, subtle ways that we don't even recognize. It's the small whispers of your inner mean girl, the things that seem irrelevant, but that compound over time and hold you back from creating the life that you desire. These small, subtle quits are what makes change feel so hard, so far out of reach. It's why you feel overwhelmed, why you are either all in or all out. It's why you make promises to yourself and you don't keep them. When you don't even realize that you are quitting on yourself, change feels like it's out of your control. It's why we blame the circumstances of our lives for standing in the way of the change that we want to create. We blame the time that we have or that we don't have. We blame our kids, our work, our schedules. We think because of those things, we can't do it. But the reality is, your inner mean girl is the reason you quit on yourself. When you listen to her stories and you quit, you vote for her and against the life that you want to be living. Every time you quit on yourself, it chisels away at the belief that you can. Instead, you believe that you can't. You believe that you're the type of woman who wants to change but can never stick with anything. The woman who is consistent for 2 weeks but then falls off track. The type of woman who just can't seem to do it. None of that is true. They're all stories of your inner mean girl. They're all votes stacked against yourself, evidence of all of the times that you have quit in the past. That changes today. As I go through the 3 ways in which you quit on yourself, I want you to think about, how is this showing up in my life? Where have I already done this? How would I show up if I believed that I was the solution to every obstacle? Think about that. How does this apply to you, to your life, and to what you've done, what you've always been doing, and what you could be doing differently? Okay, so the first way in which we quit on ourselves is what I call the big quits. The big quits are those most obvious ways in which we quit on ourselves. It's when you consciously give up on your goals. You stop altogether. You set a goal, maybe you take some steps towards it, you make some progress, but then life gets hard. A challenge comes up, a couple challenges come up, your motivation starts to fade, your inner mean girl gets really loud, and you give up. These big quits are those like cheerleader on top of the pyramid with a megaphone mentality. And I want to be very clear. There is a difference between big quits and changing course. Big quits are when you want something and you give up on that goal, even though you still want it. That is very different than reevaluating your goals and what you want and choosing to change course because you have changed courses. What you want has changed. Big quits sound like, I'm done. I can't do it. Or I can't do this anymore. It's not working. I don't have the time. It's too hard. Big quits come from feeling frustrated, challenged, being pushed outside your comfort zone and feeling really uncomfortable about that. They come from doubt, uncertainty, fear, from being disappointed or feeling resentful, expecting bigger, faster results, being in a hurry. These all lead to those big quits. Big quits are the moment when you throw in the towel and you tell yourself, I guess this just isn't for me. And it's not because you don't want it. It's because your inner mean girl has convinced you that you can't, that it's not possible, that you're not capable. Big quits may feel like a relief in the moment, like you're letting go of the pressure. But the thing with big quits is that relief that you feel is temporary. It comes at a cost. That cost is the life that you want to be living. It's the habits, the energy, the confidence, the weight loss, the balance, the boundaries that you want in your life. Big quits keep you stuck in the same patterns, the same struggles, the same belief that change isn't possible for you. But the big quits don't mean that you failed. They don't mean that you can't do it or that it's not possible. It's actually a sign that you are holding on to a story that doesn't serve you. It's a sign that you have to learn to identify and to quiet your inner mean girl so that you can stop quitting on yourself and create the change that you want in your life. Just imagine the life that you would be living if you didn't believe your inner mean girl when she tells you that it's not working, that you can't lose those last couple pounds. Imagine that instead of believing her and finding yourself deep in the pantry, eating away all of your disappointment and frustration, you knew exactly how to quiet her voice and to keep yourself focused on what you want and the steps to get there. Imagine the freedom you would feel, the confidence that you would have, the motivation that creates the habits that not only help you to lose that weight, but to keep it off. That is the power of quieting your inner mean girl. So, that is the most obvious way in which we quit on ourselves. But let's talk about the not so obvious ways. When you get really good at identifying these quits, these not so obvious quits, your entire life changes. The first of these is what I call mini quits. These are the whispers. Our inner mean girl is not always the cheerleader on top of the pyramid with the megaphone. Sometimes she's 50 shades of quiet and she shows up in the most subtle ways. Mini quits are when you quit on the little commitments you make to yourself. It's when you talk yourself out of what you want to be doing. They often sound like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'm too tired. I don't have the energy. I'm not in the mood. I'm just not motivated. It's when you plan to cook a healthy meal and you have everything that you need. You've gone to the store, you're prepared, but instead of cooking, you order the takeout that you're trying to get away from because your inner mean girl is whispering, I don't feel like cooking tonight, or it'll be so much easier to just order takeout. The problem with the mini quits is that they feel like no big deal in the moment. They may even feel good, comfortable, easy in the moment. But what typically ends up happening is you feel guilty. You eat the takeout, and then an hour later, you're beating yourself up because you should have just cooked dinner like you said you were going to. Or maybe you snooze your alarm and you go back to sleep and you don't go to the gym like you wanted to. And then later in the day, you have no time or no energy and you get frustrated with yourself because you should have just gotten up. Or maybe you say, I'm going to work on this project, but instead you end up on the couch watching Netflix, and then you feel discouraged because you feel like you're so far behind. Every time you talk yourself out of what you said you would do, you chip away at your confidence and your trust in yourself. Mini quits are the most common ways in which we quit on ourselves. But the good news is they can be easy to catch and correct when you know what you're looking for and how to handle them when they show up. My clients and I spend a lot of time on mini quits. They create what I call your inner mean girl protocol. That helps them to identify exactly how their inner mean girl shows up in their lives, what she sounds like, what she feels like, and what they are going to do when they hear those stories. They get really good at making future focused decisions and creating future focused habits. Every time you follow through, every time you honor what you want, every time you talk yourself into it instead of out of it, even when it feels hard, you build evidence that you are capable of doing what you set out to do. You build trust and confidence creates belief. And with belief, you have a solid foundation for creating the life that you want to be living. The last way in which we quit on ourselves is what I call the advanced quits. This is when you don't even start. You don't even give yourself a chance to go after what you want. Advanced quits may sound like, I can't. I'm too busy. I don't have the time. They may also sound like, I've already tried everything. Nothing works. What's the point? I've failed so many times before. Why would this time be any different? Advanced quits also sound like a self identity. I'm not the kind of person who can. I've never been able to. This is just who I am. Advanced quits are rooted in fear of failure, fear of discomfort, fear of not being enough. Your inner mean girl loves to feed you stories like you're not ready. You'll never stick with it. It's too late. But here's the thing, not starting is the ultimate form of quitting because it guarantees that nothing will change. We fear that we're going to fail, so instead we fail in advance by not even taking the chance. You think you can't do it, but the truth is you're not doing it now. Believing your inner mean girl when she tells you that you can't, that you're too busy, that you don't have the time, or you're not the type of person who can do it, costs you the opportunity to figure it out, to try something that you haven't done before, to get the support that you need and that you want to help you get there and to stay there for the rest of your life. The habits and the confidence and the life that you create for yourself when you learn to quiet your inner mean girl and stop quitting on yourself in the big and the mini and the advanced ways is invaluable. That is something that you have for the rest of your life. I want you to think about that. You spend 6 months with me inside of Confident Mind and Body, learning to quiet your inner mean girl, building your confident self-concept, developing the skill to navigate high and low motivation cycles, creating future-focused habits, grounding yourself in a having mentality. And you get to carry that with you for the rest of your life. From that place, you create the habits and the confidence and the life that you want, that you desire. You create balance, consistency, joy, presence, space, productivity with ease. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be able to identify your inner mean girl and know how to quiet her down. If you've been stuck in the advanced quits, commit to starting. If you're battling a mini quit, follow through on just one thing you said you would do. And if you're recovering from a big quit, be kind to yourself. Meet it with compassion. Start again, not from a place of shame or guilt, but from a place of possibility, from belief in yourself and what you are capable of and what you want. Most importantly, challenge the stories of your inner mean girl. When she says you can't, ask yourself, is that true? Or is it just what I've always believed up until now? Quitting may feel easier in the moment, but it is the hardest thing you will ever do. It's time to stop. You deserve so much more. Imagine your life free from your inner mean girl, from the stories that she has been telling you for far too long. Imagine feeling confident in your body, in who you are, in what you do, in the decisions that you make. Imagine feeling balanced. Imagine trusting yourself, feeling like you can do this, like I've got this. Imagine feeling like you have enough time in your day for you and everyone and everything else. That is the life you create inside Confident Mind and Body. That is the life that you create when you stop quitting on yourself, when you learn to quiet your inner mean girl. Maybe today you stop talking yourself out of it. Maybe you finally schedule that free consultation. Maybe today is the day you commit to the life that you want, the life that you deserve, the life that is possible for you, and the life that you are capable of creating. All right, my friends, that is how we quit on ourselves. Notice how this comes up for you. Where is it showing up in your life? What are the stories? How are you feeling? Be able to identify them. That awareness alone is a game changer. But you've got to look for it. You've got to see it. You've got to be willing to quiet your inner mean girl and move yourself through it. Next week, we are talking about the 3 things that you need to do to stop quitting on yourself. You won't want to miss that episode. That concludes our 3-part series on quitting. But if any of today's episode resonated with you, now is the time. Schedule your free consultation. Join me in Confident Mind and Body, and let's quiet your inner mean girl and create the habits and the confidence and the balance and the life that you want to be living. I will see you inside. If you are ready to quiet your inner mean girl, I invite you to join me inside Confident Mind and Body, my private coaching program, where you will learn to quiet your inner mean girl and create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you love. Just visit wellnesswithabbyh.com and schedule a free consultation.